Hi, I'm Andrea Kilmer. I'm the CEO of the Garcia Companies. I'm a CPA by trade and started out in public accounting. So when I was a child, I started limping but was not complaining. And so when I was about 6 or 7, my parents continued to take me to an orthopedic doctor for x-rays. Nothing was showing up. At one particular time, it did show up that I had a very rare disease that is 95% male, very rarely in a female. And so at third, fourth grade, I was put in leg braces where I could put no weight bearing at all on my left leg. So my history goes back 60 years. I had very limited activity for several years after being out of the leg braces. Because of that, my doctors felt that I would be having a hip replacement pretty early on in my life. I ended up having my hip replacement after I had my 2 boys because there was some concern because of the hip deformity, how it would even impact carrying children. So at about age 39, I walked in and actually saw Jack Siegel here at this practice. And my hip was so deformed because of the early onset of this disease, as well as the improper wear and tear of it over the years, that he was very concerned of a possible outcome and actually referred me to Johns Hopkins. And then I started having other issues with my knees and my back, and my physician, again, early on, had said, you're going to have a lot of issues because your leg didn't grow when you were in leg braces, so I had some imbalance in my legs, and it's going to put stress on your back, your knees, that you otherwise wouldn't have. I've had back issues, lumbar issues. The Dr. Levy here has given me numerous back injections. I haven't had to see him in about 1.5 years, which is wonderful because everything seems to be working. Dr. Laurent has given me neck injections before under, I don't know if they actually call it anesthesia, but twilight sleep. And it was like, well, we hope this lasts for a couple of years, but it's been 10 years and I haven't had to go back. We spent significant time in conversations with Dr. Laurent about what I do, my work, and we figured out that using talking on the telephone. And so I use a headset at all times. I do not hold a phone to my ear to keep my neck from keeping it straight. So I do that both with my cell phone as well as at work. And so it has kept the neck issues at bay. 2017, I had major work done on my shoulder by Dr. Griffin. He is absolutely wonderful. He was very attentive and caring, and I always felt like I was his only patient. He would listen. He'd spend whatever time I needed to make sure I understood, the processes, and I had a wonderful outcome. I mean, that shoulder is better than it had been in a decade with regard to mobility and strength, and I'm actually left-handed, so I was very concerned about my dominant hand. Hence now, here I am back with my right shoulder. So I had right shoulder surgery 2 weeks ago. And it was a different process with Dr. Griffin. I felt like that his practice had really developed to the point that he has an entire team. And if I would call and say, I really want to get in to see Dr. Griffin, because I've had so many cortisone shots in my life, and they would say, well, Neil is available, but Dr. Griffin isn't available till X date. So I started seeing his staff. And the entire team, he has done a great job, in my opinion, either training or at least selecting the people that work with him. But what I admire most as a CEO myself of a company, it's very important that you learn to delegate. You can't do everything yourself as your business is growing. I assume it's the same thing with a physician with practice. So he has surrounded himself with great people so he can do what he does best, which is do surgery on people like me and get me up and moving. One of the things that has been important to me is the doctors that ask you, what do you want the outcome to be? What do you want to be able to do after this surgery? But the reality is them really trying to get to know what is it that you want to accomplish and how fast. I mean, I always wanted to run a half marathon. I ran my first one at 52 on my hip replacement. I think that just having doctors want to know what it is I'm trying to accomplish and not just look at me as another, appendage that they're going to do surgery on means a lot. For me, I don't know that a lot of people would really appreciate it as much as I do, but I know being a company that, has so many employees that I have to count on my team to make sure that my customers, that my employees, everyone is, whether you want to say happy or satisfied with the process. So for me, I really have appreciated their responsiveness and their professionalism. We all have bad days. I have never been here, and I've been coming here for over 25 years. I've never had someone have a bad day in front of me, and I'm sure that they sometimes do. First thing I say is go to Jordan Young. Second thing is if it's a shoulder, I'm going to say, please see Dr. Griffin, and I'll actually pull out my phone and I send them the contact information. Then and there, this is who you want to see, because I've just, like I said, they've kept me up and moving my whole life, literally.